Jim, thanks for joining us today. I mean, when you see reports like this, and we know Boeing has continued to sort of maintain the beginning of the fourth quarter, they expect to get these aircraft back online. Are the company's estimates just too ambitious right now?
Well, I think that they gave an estimate that was their best case scenario at the time that they said it. I think they most recently said it on August 7th that they expect the plane to come back at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Certainly, it's not great news that we may see some pushback on that timeline. But the fact of the matter is that when I hear that regulators are pushing back against Boeing, I think that's a very healthy give and take that's going to have the flying public more confident that when these planes are recertified, that they are safe.
Is that the reason you have a buy rating on the stock?
Well, our target prices are based on 12-month time horizons, and to us, we think that when we look at this company a year from now, you're going to see a lot different picture. The plane's going to come back. Is it December? Is it early January? We're not certain, but the plane's going to come back over the next couple of months. Delivery is going to start flowing again. They're going to start to clear up this 4,400 plane backlog for the 737, and they're going to start to fix their financial position. So when we look at the company a year from now, it's going to be a much better picture. We think the stock price will be much higher then.
Jim, these incremental delays in when the plane comes back into action, does that hurt Boeing's stock price more or certain airlines' stock price more?
I think it's hurting Boeing more. I think it's a death by 1,000 cuts. We see a little bit of optimism come in. We hear the news that Boeing is hiring in anticipation of bringing the plane back. The stock pops. Then we hear that there may be a delay from regulators. The stock comes down. So there's been a constant news flow where the stock has moved up and down on each positive and negative news item, and this is a continuation of that trend. But once we do see some traction that the plane is coming back, we think that there'll be some more traction to the upside.
And Jim, just to shift gears a little bit here right now, given the fact that we have seen industrials more broadly sell off pretty, I guess, across the board on the latest with U.S.-China trade talks, are there buying opportunities here?
I mean, yeah, there certainly are. I mean, the economy is not coming to a standstill. Certainly, investors have reacted to worries about the recession, and then certainly the manufacturing numbers, consumer confidence coming down. There is somewhat of a bear case, but that's usually a good time to buy stocks. I'm certainly not a strategist, but in terms of my industrial coverage, I think there's a lot of names that are undervalued, particularly aerospace and defense, which is going to see demand regardless of the economic environment. We think that e-commerce is still going to drive companies like FedEx and UPS to do well. So there are pockets where stock pickers can do well and stocks that are still going to go up despite the overall economic climate.
Rebecca, where do you stand on industrial space at the moment?
We haven't been looking at that space very much for quite a while.
Because of the trade fears?
Partly because of that, but I think the point is so spot on that at this point in the cycle, later in the cycle, you get more dispersion. So I'm so glad you asked that question, because there are going to be companies, even within sectors, that are getting beat up, that if you can take a slightly longer horizon, you're getting great value.
Yeah.
Jim, I just wanted to come back one final Boeing question. You mentioned the back and forth might help the consumer image of the plane. Have there been many finite surveys as to whether consumers are fully aware of the plane's name and may take quite some time to want to get back onto it?
I think the perception right now is that customers are a little bit on edge in terms of their feelings of safety about the plane. But once the plane is recertified by the FAA, by global regulators, there'll be some kind of a push to reassure the flying public that the planes are safe. Certainly there will be hours and hours of flight time with these planes back in the air that will gradually convince the public that these are safe. And fact of the matter is that if you're flying United Airlines, you're flying American Airlines or Southwest, you don't have much choice in what plane you're flying. So eventually they're going to just want to travel, and they will fly these planes again.